Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is John Tkaczewski, and this month's webinar will be about FileCatalyst TransferAgent. And I want to specifically address a few issues, especially how to migrate away from our Java applets to TransferAgent, and as well show you some new functionality and technologies that we're developing based on the TransferAgent, such as sending email links. So this is what I'm trying to do today, and thank you all for coming. Once again, my name is John Tkaczewski, President and Co-founder, and welcome to this month's webinar. So, first questions we have to ask ourselves: why did we develop TransferAgent, first of all, and why you should consider migrating away from Java applets. By the way, if you have any questions during my presentation, please type in your questions into the GoToWebinar questions box, and I will get to them at the end of my presentation. Thank you. So, first of all, Google Chrome announced that they will drop support for Java applets by the end of October, I believe. I think it's October 20th to be exact. Microsoft Edge, the new browser that comes out with Windows 10, also doesn't have support for Java applets. It's not particularly really the Java applets that have been taken out. It's really the native API or native API plugin. So a lot of plugins have been written based on this API, the native API, including Java. So this plugin is being sunset by some browsers, and therefore, Java applets will stop working on the browser. The whole Java as a language and platform and server platform is not going anywhere and staying. It's just the applets part that is having difficulties. With the native plugin, for example, I can give you a little anecdote here. For example, my son likes to play Battlefield, and I think Battlefield 3, for example, uses now the native API plugin, and he cannot play this game anymore on Chrome or Microsoft Edge. So it's not only Java. There's a lot of plugins out there that have been used as API, and a lot of these plugins have to migrate away. And that's why we developed TransferAgent to work on that. We're also putting Java applets this fall, or pretty much already started, in a maintenance mode. So that means if there's any problems running applets in some browsers or there's some security concerns, we will be addressing them to make sure applets continue working. But we will not develop any new features on the applets moving forward. Once again, we cannot make Chrome or Edge use our Java applets because the problem is much, much deeper than what we can offer. But whatever browsers still do support applets, we will continue supporting that and making sure that applets run on all the latest browsers. We'll continue also signing the applets and providing you new certificates when the current ones expire in October in 2016. So this will continue. And the biggest and another issue that we want to do also is that users to run Java applets is getting harder and harder. So once again, this burden of removing the need to run Java applets from the end users is gone. Right now, you'll be able to provide your customers with a set of instructions of what to do, how to get the FileCatalyst transfers going in a web browser, and you're 100% guaranteed that if the customer runs this, everything will work and you'll be able to do transfers. So what is TransferAgent? Well, in a nutshell, I'm trying to figure out to simplify it. It's really a desktop application that can interface using HTML5 on the web page. So the desktop application listens in the background to HTML5 or REST calls, and as those calls come in, it can provide a directory listing, as you can see here, the local file system, or provide the file transfer services, so either upload or download. And it doesn't need any plugins because now this is just a desktop app that a user has to download, install, and they're ready to go. As soon as they hit a web page that has JavaScript that uses the plugin, everything works. If the transfer agent is not running, then that user is prompted to basically download and install the agent. Once again, the setup is much more straightforward because the user has to just install like any other app on their desktop to run and use. Once again, for those corporate environments where users are not allowed to install executables, we will continue using the applets, or you can provide the administrator of those tight systems the executable that they will have to install and push onto their corporate desktops to use the transfer agent utility. Once again, we do this because UDP transfers are not built into a web browser, and if you want to do acceleration in a web browser, that's the only way to do this. So some of the features we've developed in the transfer agents. First of all, there's no dependency on the Java plugins. It works on both on Mac and Windows. We're planning down the road to also make a Linux build, but at this point, it's only Mac and Windows that we support. We support all major browsers, new or old, Chrome, Edge, IE, Firefox, everything works on it. It is fairly lightweight. I think it's under 20 megs, the whole installer, the whole app. Most of it is actually, help and documentation and stuff like that. The actual application is fairly small. It was built with the security in mind. So the user, you can encrypt, everything is encrypted on both the JavaScript that uses the transfer agent, and as well the user is prompted to allow or deny certain services. So when the user first visits a web page that has JavaScript that uses transfer agent, they'll be prompted, do you want to use this web page to transfer files? Once again, this is something that we've built security in mind. And as well, we added an option in the transfer agent that the user can hide their certain local file system. So for example, if they don't want to allow everything to transfer agent, they can say allow only let's say my documents. So only my documents will be available to the transfer agent to transfer at that point. It supports both uploads, downloads. There's a transfer queue, and there's also functionality of the download button. So the download button really replaces our download applet, which I will show you in a minute. The functionality also, there's no real need for web server side technology. So everything just uses JavaScript and static HTML pages. Of course, you can embed these into like an ASP or PHP or Cold Fusion type of web pages by just turning these static pages into dynamic pages, and then you could set certain parameters automatically, just like you did with the applets. But there's no real web server side technology required. It has built-in email notifications and web links, which I will show you in a minute what it means, that you can note the email notifications can go out as soon as an upload, download, or an email link is sent. And it's based on an open REST API. So in a sense that desktop app starts up a web server on a specific port and has REST API or REST calls to it to either receive list of files or uploads or downloads. So this REST API can be leveraged by much more than just our JavaScript, but in a nutshell, it can be used by any other language or technology out there that is able to do REST calls. So what's coming soon to the transfer agent? Well, we're going to have a huge release I believe in probably mid-November. So in a month and a half or so, in our version 3.6, that is going to have a huge update to transfer agent. So first big change is that we're not only building the upload and download tool and replacement for Java applets, we actually built also ability to send email links to files that are sitting on a FileCatalyst server, and those files then can be downloaded with acceleration. Same thing if a user wants to send a local file to an email, they can do it without attaching the email, without attaching the large file into the email. It's just a link is sent. We're also simplifying the whole launch and install process. Current version is a little bit more complicated in this. In November, there will be a single prompt. It will work very similar to what every user is used to in GoToMeeting or WebEx. So it will be a very similar process to GoToMeeting and WebEx, and everything is just in line. User is prompted to do something when it's needed. There's not much installation. And then in spring 2016 or so, we're hoping to finish our two-way applet functionality. So right now, those users that are using the two-way applet or our unlimited FTP applets, there's no real port on the transfer agent. This is something that will come in the spring next year once we develop that. So I'm going to try to show you really three things. I'm going to show you how to migrate away from an upload applet perspective, migrate from a download applet, and a demo link. So let's get to it. So first what I'm going to show you, I have here, I created a web server. I started a local web server with the upload applet already working. Here's my upload applet. As you can see, if I refresh this, I can select a file and I can upload this file to the FileCatalyst server. So here's an idea, and this is our regular upload applet functionality. Now these files are being all uploaded to the FileCatalyst server. If you look at my server configuration, everything's going to be uploaded as this TA user, and if I browse the folder here, you can see the files here that are sitting on my server. So this is anybody that has used the upload applet is familiar with this. So let's take a look a little bit at the configuration of this. So the upload applet configuration, here's what I've set up. I've set up my server, my port, my user, password. If you notice, the values here are very weird. They are not actual IP addresses or actual passwords, because what I did, I enabled Encrypt and I set an EK encryption key, and that's why you see these obfuscated values, not the real values for these. So this is a very common way of our users uploading files to the server. They will set this up. They will set this JS file. They can make it dynamic by turning into a PHP or ASP page and loading this dynamically and populating this via dynamic script. So really, that's all what it is. And then the upload page, this file just gets to be included in an HTML page as such. And if I do view source here, you can see that the only thing that is included in here is deploy java.js, which has been always there, and fcupload.js, the file I just showed you with the encryption. So how would this work in the transfer agent way? So transfer agent way, first of all, see, I'm doing this in Firefox because my Chrome already cannot run applets. So that's why I cannot really show you this part in Chrome. So let me just switch over to Chrome here. And I have, on the same web server, created an upload example with transfer agent. So when I go here, the way all this information here, this TA webinar upload, I really got it from the deployment zip file. So when you first install and download and install download the transfer agent, it will come in this type of format. It will come basically as a big zip file, FileCatalyst TransferAgent deployment.zip. And inside there's going to be a FileCatalyst folder, and inside this FileCatalyst folder is all your upload, download, and all the examples. So then if you need to, for example, only do upload, well, you just customize your upload page and modify the JS file that is needed here to make the changes. So it's very similar idea of the applets. But for applets, we had separate directories for upload, download. Here, everything is in the same FileCatalyst folder, and you can just rename whatever you want to whatever you're trying to do. So in this case here, I already made my. I took my web server, I deployed it onto my root directory. TA webinars, and you can see here are all the files. So what I did, I went into my JS file, I went my JS folder, and modified configuration.js, which is the main configuration file that tells TransferAgent what to do. And here's what I changed. So here's what I changed. So first thing what I did, I knew my server port, username, password, and all that stuff. And instead of just entering it in clear text, which then every user will be able to decompile and see, I entered it using PGP. So everything's encrypted. So unlike the applets where the encryption key had to be specified in the JavaScript, and then a user could download like our encrypt utility and basically deobfuscate these numbers. So all these values were just obfuscated in Java applets. Here we're using PGP. So this is a one-way encryption. Once I specify this message, there's no way to retrieve this message back for end users. So viewing source and having this parameter is not going to help them. Of course, there's other ways to get around to it. If let's say you don't use SSL, I could just sniff on the network and see what username and password is being passed. But if SSL is used and this PGP message, you're much more secure than whatever you were with the applets. So I specified these values here, and now if I go to the upload page here, it will prompt me to launch TransferAgent, which launches the little desktop app. The little desktop app is now in my system tray, and now I'm off to the races. And I can now start uploading files. So if I go to, let's say, C, and I add a few files here, and I click on upload queue, I am now uploading the files. Once again, TransferAgent is really just REST calls. The JavaScript that comes with it it's an application we built, but it's just an example. These are all JavaScript actions. So if I want to have local file system, I specify a div for local file system. So none of this has to be there, or it can be changed, because not like applets where the entire interface was within a GUI. Here everything is within HTML5. So if we take a quick look here at the page source for this, if we take a quick look here at the if we look at the page source of this, here's what's happening. So all I need to do is put some CSS includes. So these are for icons on the list and all that stuff. Then in your head of your body, you basically have to specify a main container class. In the main container class, you can specify that, well, show me the local files. Give me local file controls. Give me local files queue. Once again, everything is based on CSS and IDs, so you can change everything you want. If you want to, for example, these are other includes you have to do. So, for example, you have to use jQuery. You have to. We use Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a way. It's a framework to allow to do some of this stuff. But all these information, all the info here, as I said, is in this configuration.js. So if I go here, you can see my PGP message. So how did I get this PGP message? This is a lot of people will be asking. If I go back to the deployment box, once again, that's all in a zip file, and you scroll down to the bottom here, there's helper page to encrypt connection parameters. So if I go in here, and now I'm going to start, I just have to specify all my connection parameters. So for example, for me, it's 127.0. This is what I'm using for my local host, my port. My username is TA. My password is 12345. Whether your server is an SSL secured or not, mine is not. And you can specify as well remote directory and lock initial directory. So if you're doing the downloads, you can browse files on the download. You can lock the user to a specific directory that cannot go up. In my case, I'm not doing this. Generate parameter string, and here's my message. And this entire message, including the square brackets, has to be copy and pasted here with by default this file comes with empty square brackets. It comes in looking like this. So you just have to replace it with the message that I just showed you there. So that's really all what there is to it for the upload side. What other things can you do on the upload side that you very often our users do? So here are some options. Your do afters. So after a successful transfer, you can call a URL. Now it's also expanded to JavaScript. You can call it JavaScript if you want to do that. You can do a specific URL for error, cancel, other error. Other error really means errors that were not pertaining to transfer, but perhaps were problems with JavaScript or timeouts with the web server. So anything that was not transfer related but still caused an error. And do after is a global do after that will get called after everything you do, whether it's success or error or failure. You can customize what progress fields you want to show. So if you notice there, I was only showing current file, overall time remaining, and the rate and the percent bar. You can customize that now. You can change whatever you want. You can show all these fields on your progress dialogues. You can change your timeouts. You can enable your auto zip, just like you did with the applets. You can enable compression. You can control your congestion control. You can specify your transfer rates if you're going really fast. You can do your progressive transfers, so transferring files that are growing. You can send your email notifications. So after a transfer, yes or no. Once again, this will require SMTP on your server to be set up, but if it's set up, you will be able to do it. You can send the file list of uploaded files in the email. Specify your mode, just like applets have, HTTP, FTP, UDP. You can specify all of that here too. How many times retry and how often to wait between retries, just like the applets. Just the format of JavaScript is a little different. And once again, everything is commented out because there's defaults for everything. And if you don't set something, we will set defaults for you. But you can always change that. You have also ability to specify maximum file sizes. So don't allow uploading anything over, let's say, 10 gigs. You can specify that here. Regex excludes certain file names based on a regex. You can only limit upload files. You cannot upload directories. A nice part is of the transfer agent, this is what I want to talk about the post URL, is that after the transfer is complete, we can call a post URL. And post URL will be called from the transfer agent. So, for example, if you wish to initiate a transfer, an end user at that point can close the web browser, and via post URL, your application will know if the transfer was complete. The post URL will send a list of files that uploaded, the status for each file, and the names of all the files. So in a sense now, you can, when your web application, tell your user, okay, you started an upload, it might take 6 hours, close your web browser. If you close your web browser, as long as the transfer agent is running in the system tray, it will continue uploading and then call your post URL. So it's a much more reliable way of doing, very, very long transfers. So that's some of the options here, and then you have your icons. You can customize every single icon in here. You can customize by using Bootstrap, whether to use Bootstrap or not. So this is really all there is. These settings apply for both uploads and downloads. Some changes are that now we're using a PGP message. We have that ability to do a post URL and call it even if the web browser is closed, and so forth, and so on. So on the download side, there's few things on the download side we can do that are different. So let's go over to my demo here. I'll go back to my demo over here, and I just want to show you this. This is what I have right now in my Firefox for the Java applets. The Java applets I have for the Java applets I have set up a download button. So this is something that is very common. Our users use now the download applet. When I click on this, I can specify download to desktop, and that fires off a transfer. Once again, once this transfer is complete, this will send and call a URL or a JavaScript to say it's complete. And you can see here I downloaded the file. So this is a very common thing our clients did with the download applet. So let's see how we can port this to TransferAgent. So once again, I'll go back to switch over to Chrome here, and I'll go to my download. So once again, I took the deployment, the zip file deployment, just like I did before for the upload, and loaded it, copied it into my web server, to the root of my web server. If you go into here, I have TA webinar download. Same thing, and I went into my JS file and started changing things. So what I changed in here, so if I go into the download here, so you have two options here. You can download with the browse. Download with the browse will show me all the files on my remote folder. And once again, if you use that lock initial directory, you can specify only specific folder here. But in this case, I show everything in my root of my FTP server. And I can now either select files for download and click on download queue, and this will start downloading the files just like I did before, and now the download is complete. So this is one way of doing it. As you can see here, open download location. So the application here didn't ask me where to save files to, because the way the TransferAgent is configured is that by default everything goes into your downloads. So if you go to user John downloads, this is just my downloads folder that I already had created, and here are the files I downloaded. If a user wishes to change the target directory of the downloads, they would have to click on the little icon here of the TransferAgent, and here they can now change the download path. So right now by default it's downloads, and by default it ships this way, but the user could change this to go to temp or wherever they want to go. They can change this default, but it's going to be global for all the applications. Once again, we did this for security reasons. We wanted to make sure that this TransferAgent can be used by several different applications. It's just JavaScript, so as long as it's running, the user controls where the files are dropped. It's more secure way of doing things. So the downloads will go automatically there. You have the queue, and everything is downloaded by wherever you configured it. Another way of configuring, so this is something brand new. We didn't have this ability with the applets. With the applets, the download applet, you could specify a list of files and make a button. So we also added this ability. We added the ability to do download with button. And when you have a download with button, well, what happens, you get an HTML5 button, which when you click on, starts your transfer. And then transfer is complete. And once again, you can have the open download location available to you so you can show what was being downloaded. So let's go. I'll go through the two options just to show you that what was changed. So see, here's my FC download once again with my encrypted. This is on the Java Applet side, the download side. This is what I've created. So I've created, true encrypt, my server, port, username, and password, and I specified in here my files, my semicolon delimited files, where I can put as many files as I want to download. And once again, this could be moved into a PHP script or ASP or whatever. So on the TA side, this is how things would look like. So once again, take my deployment of the zip file. I can specify again the remote server, host, username, and password, but if I want to do security, I can do the PGP message again. Just the same way as I did it on uploads, I can specify the PGP message. And that's pretty much it. For the download with the browse option, the one where I was browsing remote files, that's really all I need to do. Just specify that and fire it up. But if I want to do the button, I got to do one more change. For the download button, I got to go into here, PG config download buttons, and specify my list of files. So in this case here, it was azure-blob.zip that I specified. So this is literally identical. This configuration is identical to this one where I specified Azure Blob here with this encryption. But once again, the advantages here, everything is HTML5. You can control the look and feel of the button. You can define several buttons, one per file. You can put a folder name here. It will start downloading an entire folder. This is all encrypted, and it's not, end user cannot retrieve this, so it's much more safe, secure. And all the other settings that we had with the applets, where you can still call a URL after transfer, redirect to a URL, you can do it. You can still do your control what you want to show in the progress dialogues. And all your parameters that I talked on the uploads are also applicable. So you can change all of these, including the post URL. So once again, a user clicks on a button, which starts TransferAgent. The TransferAgent starts downloading files. At that point, the user could close their web browser, and as long as you have post URL callbacks, the TransferAgent will tell your web application when something was downloaded. So so the downloads is very similar, but you have the ability to do the buttons here. So that's really what we have so far for the applets. I also wanted to show you this new functionality, which will be launching in November. And in November we will be launching FileCatalyst web links. So it's FileCatalyst web links will let you send links on a server. So let me show you how this works. Once again, once you have the FileCatalyst server installed, you have your users, you have your everything is the same as before, but now you have a new method, new tab here called link, and the link tab tracks all your transfers, everything you sent to an email address. So this is the ability to see everything that was sent to a link, and then you have different status, whether it was downloaded or not. You can control number of days that links will be stored, number of days that failed emails will be stored, and so on. So you can also customize it with an image. So you can put your corporate image on these emails. So this is really the controlling part, the management part of the links. How the end user works with it is, if you go here and you click on HTTP settings, you enable HTTP, of course, and then you have a new link here called link. So all you have to do is just really have this link posted somewhere on your web server, and then if you click on email link, I can now connect as a user. I'm already connected, so I am connected as John. But what I can do here, let's say if I do this, if I remove the save credentials from here, and I can if I refresh this page, I'll be now prompted what username and password. So username and password here pertains to the user created on the direct server. So these users here are being used. Once I'm connected, I can save my password, and now I can send files. So I'm going to send a file to test demo. And here, let's call this webinar demo. So here's my subject for my email, my message, and now I can attach files. So there's two things I can do. I can either attach files directly from my local drive. So I can go into here, let's say I want to send this file and this file. And I can also go to the remote side and attach files that are sitting on my server already. So for example, I want to attach a file that is sitting on my server. And these files I don't have to upload because they're already on the server. And once I hit send here, this sends the files and emails the link over to the user. So now I'm going to switch over to being a recipient, and I want to just show you how this looks like for the recipient side. So let me just get messages. I'm using here Thunderbird as an email. as an example of an emails. So here's my webinar demo. That's the one I just sent. You can see my total size, shows me how long these packages will be available, as well as the logo that is attached. Once again, you can change this logo. And now this link is clickable in most clients. I think my Thunderbird is just a little old and doesn't realize that this is a link. So I can just copy this link here and I can paste it as a download. And here are the files I've sent and shared with somebody. So now as the recipient, this link can be shared via regular email. It can be shared automatically sent by FileCatalyst server. And you can see here all the files are being, I can download it, I can add them to the queue and download these files. I can download these files to my downloads folder. And now once again, if I do open download location, it will show me the file here, the files I just downloaded. So this allows you to really easily send large files via email, and it's all built into your regular FileCatalyst Direct. How does it look on the server side? Well, here's the here's an example. So this is what I sent. You can see the files. So this is the latest one will be here, I think, on the bottom. So yeah, here are my files. You can see that who are sent to. I can expire this link. I can change the expiry date of this link. I can resend it. This will resend an email. And I have also global settings for these links. So number of days that links will be stored, 7 days. After 7 days, the links are gone. Number of days that fails, if something is a failure for 2 days, it will retry, keep on trying. And how long, this really creates like a temporary account so the user can download all these files. So how long is this account good for? So normally 20 minutes is a good setting. So really that's all what it is. You can review the links, you can delete them here, expire them globally, and you can have some settings for it. So once again, this is built on the same technology, our TransferAgent technology. It's all JavaScript driven. Everything is driven through an API. REST calls an API. So this is again an illustration what can be accomplished with TransferAgent now in the future in your own applications as well. It gives you full control of everything that you could do only in Applets now is available to you via HTML5 and REST. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please, you can contact me directly or your rep. And thank you again.